Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Inter Milan versus Arsenal Champions League night watch-along. Lots of other games to keep an eye on as well, and I hope you are doing well. Calhan Lane has got a super chat we'll read in a moment as well. People getting very excited about that Man City centre-back from last night. But breaking news, Aston Villa will lose their place, already have lost their place at the top of the Champions League group because they've just lost to Club Brugge 1-0. They're having a bit of a tough time of it at the moment, aren't they? Villa. They're going through a bit of a slump. Drew Bournemouth at home. Lost at the weekend to Spurs, just lost to Club Brugge. I don't know, Villa fans, talk to me. Is this your worst run under Emery? I mean, look, I think it was always going to catch up with them. Playing Champions League football in a very demanding Premier League. Everybody has their little drop-offs, don't they? They go to Anfield on Saturday night. That's going to be massive for them. And could Liverpool be catching them at the right time? Silent says Liverpool top of the league and the Champions League. They play Villa next. Calhoun says, I'm done with Pusey. It's all about Inter Arsenal. And Swedish Polymath says, Swedish and Finnish bankers are fighting the American soccer mafia. Have you heard the rumours about the FIFA 2026 World Cup and soccer reforms? I haven't heard anything about that, mate, unfortunately. Stephen says, Mings had a howler for Aston Villa. Well, let's have a look at the team news here as they come out onto the pitch. Inter are Sommer, Pavard, De Vrij, Bissek, Dumfries, Fratesi, Kalanoglu, Zielinski, Darmian, Taremi and Lautaro Martinez. On the bench for them tonight, they've got the likes of Mkhitaryan, DeMarco, Bastoni, Barella and Thuram. And look, why have Inter got DeMarco, Barella and Bastoni and Thuram on their bench? Well, I suppose I can understand Thuram actually, but you know, some of the better players for me aren't actually playing tonight for Inter. Arsenal go strong. Raya, Timber, Gabriel Saliba, White, Martinelli, Moreno, Partey, Saka, Trossard and Havertz. So on the bench, they've got... Is Declan Rice suspended for this game? Am I right? I'm just looking at Rice is not on the bench. But Moreno, Partey and... I don't know how that's going to work in their midfield. Who will play in the midfield then? Moreno, Partey and maybe Trossard, maybe Havertz. I don't know. We'll have to see. Rice has got a knock. He's not been suspended, says Ellie, and Tanish says he's not injured as well. Trossard will play as the cam, says Wireless. And Constantine says, do you rate David Hanko from Feyenoord as a potential left back for Man United? Don't need a bloody left back. Just spent 20 minutes talking about that on the United stand. They don't need a bloody left back. He doesn't play with a left back. He plays a 3-4-3. Don't need a left back. Unless he's going to start playing with wing backs, but he normally uses wingers, doesn't he? Rub says, hi all, love to join here after a frustrating day at work. What frustrated you about work, Rub? Tell us, what do you do? Now relaxing by doing some writing and enjoying the show with Mark. Your guys are a blessing in disguise. Love all, says Rub. Well, thank you very much for your contribution, Rub. Also a member of the channel as well. Get your badge in. Appreciate that. Score prediction. You know what? GM Stores. My score prediction is a score draw. I think it's a really intriguing game where it's hard to say just what's going to happen because sometimes I feel that the Premier League is better. Well, I think the Premier League is better than the Italian league, which is a bit slower. So that always makes me think, well, maybe Arsenal will win. But then Arsenal aren't having a great time of it at the moment, and Inter are a good side. So I'm going to go with the score draw. Let us know what your thoughts are. Love to get some good either-ors going tonight as well, if anyone's got any. Could be controversial either-ors as well. And not going to do politics, so forget about that. Not interested in any of that. With regards to the Champions League group stage at the moment, Liverpool are top with 4 wins from 4. Sporting are second with 10. Monaco are third with 10. Dortmund are fourth with 9. Villa are fifth with 9. And then you've got Man City in sixth with 7. Inter also have 7. Arsenal have 7 as well. So that's where we're at the moment. Who did Arsenal lose to? Oh, no, they haven't. This is their third game now, isn't it? Neither of these teams have lost. Just realised. I just realised. With regards to Serie A at the moment, let me just get this game up and running with the timer. I'm going to stand up in a minute. Inter are in second place behind Napoli. 24 points, plays 25. They're unbeaten in their last 5 league games. And they're unbeaten in the Champions League. So that's what Arsenal are up against today. They're up against an unbeaten side. And they've scored the second most amount of goals in Serie A with 25 in 11 games. So I think we'll see goals. Baron says, how about it? They're polar bears. Don't get me started on polar bears. Oh, bloody hell. Show you what, I'll sort them out. Bye. Go to sleep. No, I need to do a bit of stretching. My back is absolutely bad tonight. That's lovely. There we go. Yeah, I hope you get a good game anyway. Twix or Snickers, Mark, says Zayan. Oh, I always would have said a Snickers, but I really, as I've got older, have appreciated the big biscuit in the Twix. So I think I like a Twix better. You know, actually, we're approaching that time of year. It's going to be a very interesting Christmas for me because I've been very good this year in relation to not eating, you know, confectionery. But when it comes to the celebrations box, I eat 6 at a time. I'll go Mars, Snickers, Twix, Malteser, and chuck a Galaxy in as well. So, but Inter on the attack here. Got a man over on the left. Into the right to Dumfries. Oh, he's hit the bar! What a shot! Could have been 1-0 there. Lovely shot by Dumfries and he hits the Denver. Lovely shot. You can't believe it. Z-Note says, how would you rate Pussy last night? I think it was a tough game for him, wasn't he? Thrown in at the deep end and I think he struggled. What a hit by Dumfries that was. Very little back kick, back lift on it. And lovely, very good power on it. Look at that. Look at the leg power in that. Bang. God. Shaquille says the crossbar is still reverberating. There'll be goals in this game. I completely am convinced. Ronaldo says, Mark, either prime United right now or end world hunger. Oh, yeah. I'll choose prime United. Another long shot there. That time from Kalinoglu, just wide. I tell you what, Arsenal be scared. You've started off quite badly here. They've started off really, really well. Yeah, I'd rather have Prime United than solving world hunger. Come on. Grow up. Will's just messaged me saying great news about Villa. And Mark, thanks for making a bad day better, says Fenky. Thank you very much. Celebrations or heroes? Oh, I don't want to have these conversations because I'm starting to think, oh, I can't wait till Christmas, but I genuinely don't eat that sort of stuff anymore. I would probably say, I'd probably still say celebrations, but I did quite get into heroes last year. William Shakespeare says, I reckon you should try a dime bar, Mark. Best chocolate ever. I don't even know if we get them in the UK anymore. I was never a big fan, to be honest. Jared says, could you do a live build along for your Old Trafford Lego set? Mate, that'd take me about 2 days. Jack Butler, thanks for being a member for 4 months. You're a legend. Top 8 progresses, Bew. So it's a group of about 92 teams in the Champions League. The top 8 qualify. It's 36 really. The top 8 qualify, and then the next 16, so from 9th to 24th, they play each other in a playoff to play the other 8 in the final 16. Who do you want to win the Premier League this year, says Swabby? Arsenal. Arsenal or Villa, and neither of them are going to do it. And you're not going to get me to say Liverpool or Man City, because I don't want either of them to win it. Honestly, if I've got to choose between Man City and Liverpool, I choose Man City, but they get found guilty of the 115, and then nobody cares. Because the rivalry with Liverpool matters. That's why I would never want Liverpool to win it. Are you going to be in the Sidemen charity match next year, says Gloom? I don't know. I don't know. Jack Butler, thank you very much. I've done that one before. Inter are all over Arsenal at the moment. I do worry about Arsenal a little bit. That's why my voice has got a bit like that. I don't know why it's just broke. I'm in my 40s and my voice is just broke. Imagine if that does happen to you. I am a bit worried about Arsenal at the moment. They're every time I say Arsenal, my voice breaks. I'm a bit worried about Arsenal at the moment because they just look a little bit disjointed. They're not flowing well. And they're playing very defensive here. Saka captain shows his maturity in class, says Josh Burke. Thanks for your super chat there. And you know what? This game could do with Inter scoring because Arsenal are playing part of the bus football here. Counter-attack. I'd like to see an Inter goal just to open this game up. Either or Harris or Trump, says Ivan. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Oliver Milton says, should I crack a Heineken for the game? Why not? Why not? I actually quite like Heineken. Archie Moore says, hi Mark, I'm a head chef at a restaurant in Doncaster. Name your favourite meal and I'll put it on as a special this weekend. I love the show. Lasagna, lasagna, every time lasagna. Archie, yeah, lasagna. Seeing Galler upset with playtime, think he could leave Madrid like Odegaard did, says Ravel. I'm trying to think of my answer here. Oh, God, Moreno's just caught Dumfries full on in the face there. That's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. He's going to end up with a black eye there. He smacked him right in the face. I think with regards to Galler, Bellingham, it's interesting because Odegaard left, didn't he? And I think he should have got a yellow card there, Moreno. I thought it was bad. I mean, Dumfries must be made of steel. He's up and he's all right. Oh, no. They've cleared it. I think the Mbappe problem at Real Madrid is a problem. They were really... yeah, he's got to look like there's nothing wrong with him, Dumfries. I'd still be down. Yeah, where do you fit into that team with Mbappe there now? It's sort of disjointed a lot of things, hasn't it? That's the problem with Real Madrid. Like, it is run by Perez and best team in the world, and they've derailed it by bringing Mbappe in. Luke, thanks for your super chat. He says, when City win, it's just void because no one actually knows a City fan. No one to gloat. My boss is a Liverpool fan and I can't deal with that. I agree, Luke. I think there is a genuine credibility to Liverpool winning the league, whereas with Man City, people just don't really care, do they? Metab says, who do you think is better, Osman or Gyökeres? I will run that as a poll for everybody to have a vote on. It's not a bad one. Get your vote in. Our first either or of the evening. What club in England has the most hostile fans, says Ivan. I don't know, mate. I don't think it's necessarily a good thing to... Really, is it? Football's moved on from that. A lot of people saying Millwall or Leeds. SN Gaming says, can we do a Salah or Son poll after this? No. Absolutely not. What's the point? Salah wins that every day of the week, doesn't he? Oh, I'll tell you what, I was football related. I wanted to get your opinion on this, right? So, like, I don't know whether you've noticed this. If you, I mean, you've got to be of a certain age because you've got to have kids, right? But what I notice a lot in kids' football is fair game time. Fair game time. Parents moaning about fair game time all the time. So what's fair game time? So basically, you know, you could be at an under 15s game and at the end of the game, you'll get parents moaning about their son being taken off. You know, he's only played half an hour and that player's played 70 minutes. This is a really big thing in kids football, like game time, fair game time, right? I'm baffled by it. I'm absolutely baffled by it. So I'm down the pub a couple of weeks ago and my mate has a lad who plays for an academy and their parents moan to the coach about fair game time in an academy. I used to coach under 11s team about 4 years ago and we had a parent come up to us and say about fair game time. You know what I said? I didn't swear. I said, if you want fair game time, go and find a club that does it. I'm about winning time. I'm about installing a winning attitude where players who are going to win us the game play. If we're 7-0 up, I'll put players on who aren't good enough, but I'm not about fair game time. It's incredible. It's utter nonsense to me. It's like the old sports day where somebody wins it and last place gets a first place ticket because everybody won. You didn't win. You lost. And I guess what? When you're an adult and you go for a job, you don't all get the job. The person who it might be corrupt, but you don't all get the job. And when you're older and you play in a running race for the Olympics, you don't all get a gold medal. Bloody fair game time. I just wanted to throw it in as a football thing because many of you will be parents or you'll be aware of this. And more fool the people who accommodate it, but to the people out there demanding fair game time, go and find a fucking sport where they do it. Football and fair game time, shut up. It's absolute nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. Fair bloody game time. Imagine that. You're 3-2 up against a decent team. Oh, on you go. I know you're absolutely shit, but you go on for our striker. Oh, we've lost 5-3, but at least everyone had a good time. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. What are you teaching everybody? At the end of the day, there's a division. If you're not good enough to play for one team, go down the divisions. And then if you're not good enough for anyone, pack it in. You're not good enough. Oliver Milton says, what about politics? I was dropped as a striker for the coach's friend's son. Well, that's a lesson in life as well, Oliver. Go and find a club where that's not going to happen. I didn't get a job once. I was the best person for the job. I didn't get it because the person who got it, who was absolutely crap, was his dad was drinking buddies with the person who was in charge. That sort of stuff goes on all the time. Tahir's just subscribed. Thank you, mate. He says, I love the videos. Mate, I don't care whether it's under 10s or under 18s. You play to win. You teach them to win. I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with fair game time. I just don't. I think you instill you instill the best life characteristics in people when they realise that life's not fair. I hate the word fair. Fair game time. It's not fair. No, welcome to the world. It ain't bloody fair. On many levels, it's not fair that some people are multimillionaires and arseholes and some people are living on the streets. It's not fair that nice people get cancer and die and arseholes live till they're 92. Life ain't bloody fair. If we could make everything fair, we would do. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. I absolutely don't. I think it's a big load of crap. And I don't know why parents moan about it. And I don't know why clubs promote it. There's plenty of things that you want to promote because, equality, etc. like that. But you don't need to go that far with fair bloody game time. Nonsense. If you're driving the bloody Titanic, not the Titanic, it's sunk. If you're flying a plane and one of the air stewardess comes in and says, when's it my turn to fly? Fair flight time. Oh yeah, you have a go. I'll go and serve the drinks. No chance. Absolutely no chance. Get logical. Anyway, still 0-0 here. Fair game time. There's specialism. Some people are good at stuff and some people aren't. Welcome to the world. Biggest lesson you'll ever learn. Life's not fair. Second biggest lesson you'll ever learn. Here's Ellie. Ellie says, in my boys under 8s, they now have to sub goalkeeper for fair play. Ridiculous. I just find it... I look, maybe I'm an old prat, but I just don't agree with it. Here comes Dumfries. We need a goal. Although Arsenal have started to attack a little bit more. Gyökeres has 72% of the vote over Osman. Look, that is recency bias, of course, but I think the answer to the question is who's the better striker at the moment? Gyökeres. Osman has not fallen off, but he's not where he should be. I mean, the amazing thing is Osman's younger than Gyökeres. That might shock a lot of people, but he is. He's still only 25. He's younger. What has he done with his career? When Napoli were winning the Italian league and looked like they were going to win the Champions League, he was one of the best strikers in the world that people were looking to pay £120 million for. He's now on loan at Galatasaray. Is that a character problem? Is that talent not going in line with mentality? I think it's a waste. I absolutely think Osman at Chelsea 2 years ago was nailed on and would have worked really, really well. But AMG says, did you see Rio said he'd like to wear an Arsenal kit? What, to do what? What, walk around the shops? To bed? I don't know the context. MW Joe, got a corner for Arsenal here, but MW Joe says, I love the videos, mate. Keep it up. Thanks for your super chat, mate. Appreciate that. Saka's cross comes in. Ooh, you know what? You take notice when Arsenal have a corner because they're good at them. But Inter defend it well. Look, get me some good comments and topics to talk about. I'll keep bringing them in. Another one, right? This is another one. This really annoys me. What are your thoughts on this? Not fair gameplay, right? When my daughter started playing football, in fact, Seb plays under 8s, and at the weekend they play, might be under 8s or under 7s, but they play 5-a-side this year. That's how they do it. They're not allowed to head it, and it's kick-ins, and it works fine. But first time at the weekend they played a girls team, and what they do with the girls is they're a year older, and they play boys a year younger. And it was a brilliant game. It worked really well because they were a bit more physical and a little bit quicker than our lads. And I think it finished 2-2. It was a really, really good game. And they do that with girls football in the UK, they basically get them to play the year below. So my daughter plays football. She's quite good. And all the way through 11s, 12s, 13s, 14s, when they play a boys team, they'll play. So if my daughter's playing under 13s, they play an under 12s team. She's now playing under 16s, and they're still playing boys under 15s. This is a direction from the FA. Absolutely stupid. Absolutely stupid. There are so many injuries across girls football now, and I think it's primarily because of this. You can't have an under 16 girl playing under 15 boys. Some of them are massive. Absolutely this is an FA directive in the UK, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe in this world of, where they're trying to promote the women's game, they're getting them to play boys. My daughter's in a boys' league. There's one or two girls' teams in it. What they should be doing is playing girls' teams. When I watch her play an under 16s girls' team, it's a great game. When they play the boys, they get beat 10-0, and they come off with sore ankles and everything else like that. It's absolutely stupid. Stupid. I hate it as well because, you see the size of some of these lads and you're like, if they crunch her on her ankle and break it, that's her out for 3 months. Anyway, just add that in. It's just absolutely thick. AMG says, and that's a directive from the FA. Ridiculous. And the best bit is Birmingham City, Aston Villa, West Brom, Wolves, Stoke, Derby, Leicester, Coventry. There's about 10 teams within 45 minutes of travelling from where her team is. They could all be in a league like the Scottish League where you play each other 4 times. Now we'll throw them in with boys. Madness. Just madness. AMG says, if there was any kit I would like to wear besides United and West Ham, it would be Arsenal. It's a nice kit. Rio 2024. I think Rio would wear a bloody Man City kit if you paid him, to be honest. Would you support the 50+1 rule for the Prem, says Amir. Yes, I'd love it. I'd love to see fan ownership, but it will never happen because money is too much. Saudi pulled the Vic deal as Napoli wanted more, says Niki. Yeah, what's he doing going to Saudi Arabia, though? One of the best strikers in Europe going to Saudi Arabia at 25. I mean, that's what I mean about the mentality. Nothing wrong with going to Saudi Arabia, but what I'm saying is, you are one of the best strikers in Europe. You've played for Napoli. Go and play in the Premier League or for PSG or for Real Madrid or Barcelona and prove yourself as one of the best strikers in the world. I haven't seen the Villa penalty, but apparently it was controversial. Can you talk about the game, Lloyd? Yeah, well, it's 0-0 at the moment. Look, there's a lot of tasty tackles going in. I am talking about it, but what do you want me to do? Inter Milan, pass it to someone else? I mean, I'm not talking about what I'm talking about while a goal's going in or there's a good shot. The best chance of the game was the Dumfries shot, and nothing's really happened since then. Both teams quite cancelling each other out. Lipsy says, what do you mean recency bias? When he was at Coventry, I was screaming at United to get him. He had the most goals on the world the calendar year of 2023. Well, what I mean by recency bias, Lipsy, is that at the moment, I think Gyökeres is better than Osimhen. It's obvious, but 2 years ago, people would have said it was Osimhen. So that's what I mean about recency bias. Could we do a poll, Mark? Lewis Hall or Luke Shaw? No, Martin, because it would just be... You can't... Give me another one and I'll do it. Because Luke Shaw just won't win a poll anywhere at the moment. Here we go. In down the left-hand side. Oh, terrible, terrible, terrible. Terrible. What are you doing? Inter Milan should have been in there. Rubbish. I'm just having a look around the grounds. We have got a goal between Barcelona and Red Star. It's Martinez who scored, assisted by Rafinha. You would expect that, of course. 0-0 in all the other games. Of course, Villa did lose to Club Bruges. 52-minute penalty. But Inter looking the more dangerous team here at the moment. I like the Inter system. I mean, that is wing backs. Very different to the way Sporting played last night. They are playing with 3 centre-backs, but they do play with wing-backs. Here's Martinelli down the left-hand side, into the box. He's got lots of Inter players around him, but can he do anything? No. Bissek heads it away. What do you think of the modern football pundit? I think punditry has changed in football so much. There's so much of it. Like, when I was growing up, it was really Alan Hansen, Gary Lineker, Mark Lawrenson, Trevor Brooking. You know, there wasn't that many. There's just so many now. Mozza says, keeper passed it to Mings and he picked it up. Yeah, Bissek could have been through one-on-one there, but he completely missed up his first touch. Hi, Mark. What do you think of the Madrid game, says Cheeky? I mean, look, Madrid aren't playing very well at the moment. They've been battered by Barcelona in the league. They were very lucky against Dortmund. Well, they were very good in the second half, but being 2-0 down at half-time, they lost to Lille. They've lost to Milan. They're just not playing very well. Saka gets the shot off there straight at the keeper. But I think it's because they're struggling to adapt to life with Mbappe. I'm sure they will adapt, but I just find it strange. Like, it's like improving your team when you're already the best team in the world. It doesn't always work out well, does it? Yeah, I agree with Pat. I think Roy Keane as a pundit is good. I like Roy Keane. He reminds me a bit of like... I mean, Souness is very bitter towards Man United, but I actually quite like Souness when he's not talking about Man United because he does get a bit like Roy Keane. He gets quite angry about stuff. I like that sort of stuff. But I think so many ex-players now, they're like rent-a-gob. Like... Give it 2 months and they'll say something completely opposite to what they did. Well, sometimes 2 hours. They'll say something completely opposite. And I don't get the feeling they watch a lot of football. Roy Keane is bitter against clubs he dislikes as well. Like Souness, says Molly. Roy Keane is bitter against Man United sometimes as well. It didn't end that well. Who's more important to their team, Rodri or Odegaard, says Dylan. I think Arsenal have coped okay at times without Rodri. Without Odegaard. But I think Man City struggle massively without Rodri, don't they? So I'd say Rodri. Barcelona have conceded. It's 1-1. Kenneth says, what do you think of the hogwash about Amarim's refusal to answer in English? I think it's just a power play and he's quite right to not be... He's quite right from the off to send a message to the media that he's not going to dance to their tune. I'm just thinking the same, James. Should that not have been a penalty for Arsenal where the keeper has clattered him after a header? Because... that happened in the World Cup final. On Messi, didn't it? I mean, I think you raise a good point. Like, Messi got a penalty for that in the World Cup. Another good corner from Arsenal, but Inter do their job. Well, it's not just Messi. Burnley got one against United last year. And Arna did it, didn't he? Which is worth Ollie, thanks for your super chat. He says, which is worse, 115 punishment, relegation to the National League, or Southgate replacing Pep? Mate, I don't mind Man City not getting relegated if Southgate's got to manage them for 10 years and they can't spend any money. I'll love that. No, they didn't get the penalty against Wolves. Tanishk, I know what you're talking about. And Arna did do it against Wolves. They didn't give the penalty in that game. It was later on in the season against Burnley where it was given. The Way says, do you think Arsenal will win the Champions League in the next 5 years? Remember who I predicted would win the Champions League before the season started? Liverpool. People laughed. People laughed at me. I said Liverpool will win the Champions League, and I said they might finish second in the league. So I was one of the few people out there that actually called that Liverpool would have a good season. Gary Neville didn't even put them in the top 4. Thought they were going to struggle. So, you know, you all kiss arse, these ex-players. I told you, I don't think they watch a lot of football. I think they live off playing football, but I don't think they actually watch a lot of football. Al Dante says, to be fair, you thought United were going to win it last year. I didn't say I get everything right, mate. And I was heavily pissed when I did that one last year. Sam says, how are you getting on with Fantasy Premier League if you play it? I did what I normally do, and I forgot to do a couple of weeks, and I've just not bothered since. I threw my toys out the pram. Gok says, who do you think will win the Conference League this year? I mean, Chelsea should win it, but I mean, I don't think really anybody cares. Imagine if we did that. Imagine if me and Gary Neville sat down in a pub and did a piece of content for YouTube talking about our Premier League predictions. Never going to happen. I'm at peace with it. It will never happen. But I tell you what, the views. I dread to think. I dread to think how many views that video would get. It would get loads, and I'm not being big-headed. It would get loads. Every time I don't know what it is. Every time I do a video like I did... every time I do a video like... Or an article's written about me, it gets low. I'm trying not to smile because it sounds really arrogant. But every time, like, you know that Daily Mail article, I did one with the Telegraph in the international break. And when I used to go on Jackmate and talk about stuff, they always do really well. I don't know why. People are really interested in that sort of thing. So it would actually bang. That reminds me, actually, I've always wanted to do Parkinson. Not like that. I mean, like, you know, he's dead. And it wouldn't work on any level. But the point I'm making is there used to be this interviewer called Michael Parkinson. Loved it. Loved his interviews. And when I was growing up, I always wanted to be famous so I could go on Parkinson. And he's dead and he stopped doing it. But I saw something, Will was on about it on the podcast, in the extra bit on the podcast, that apparently they've... what are your thoughts on this? Why am I coming up with all the good topics tonight? So this interviewer, Michael Parkinson, who's dead, they've come up with AI that apparently his family can't even recognise isn't him. So they're thinking about bringing the series back with him and his AI voice. I mean, I just think that is... I just think it's so wrong. What are our next generation supposed to do? I mean, I can't think of anything worse that whenever I die, my family use all the content of me and regenerate me to talk about United in the future. Oh, what a prat, he's missed it. You know, I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that. I mean, obviously, it's going to make money for Michael Parkinson's family, but I don't agree with it because you have your time on the earth and then you don't. It's a gift and then you're gone. You don't take other people's opportunities in the future because of technology. It's right. I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with what they're going to do it with acting as well. I guarantee you Brad Pitt is going to be in films for the next 500 years because they're just going to keep using him and using him and using him. And I don't agree with it. How is that meant to help the talent of the future if you're just going to regenerate the talent of the past? Effectively, if you were born in the last 50 years, then you're set for life. Because if you were talented in the last 50 years, you're set for life. It'll happen with music. There'll be new songs coming out that are, you know, the Beatles that they never bloody recorded. I think it's horrible. I think it's absolutely horrible. I think it's so demotivating for future generations that their music, acting, and all that sort of stuff is basically just going to be computer generated dead people. It's wrong. I actually hope there'll be some resistance to it where people, you know, like YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that, but go enough is enough. I don't want the computer generated stuff. Who is the most important to give a contract to? Salah, Van Dijk or Trent, says Callum. Still 0-0 here, by the way. You can tell nothing's much happening in the goal mouth because we're wandering around. But I've got to say, it's me who spoke about AI. It's me who spoke about girls having to play against boys in football and also fair game time. I haven't had any good topics from you tonight. No agony bridge, no good animal battles, no controversial opinions. What's wrong with you? You need to do better because I'm ready for it. Callum Spence says, who's the most important to give a contract to? Salah, Van Dijk or Trent? I'm going to do that as a poll, Callum, because you've done it as a super chat. Thanks for your £5. I'm going to whack it in there as well, and I will answer it. But I want to get everyone else's opinion. Who so how do I do that? It's freezing. Which new contract is most so slow? What's going on here? Most vital to Liverpool. It's doing it again. What's going on with YouTube? Slow typing time. Oh my God. Do you just hate it when it does that? This is going to take ages. Oh, fucking hell. It's like freezing every 2 seconds. Can't type nothing. Refresh. You know what that is? It's AI fighting back. Goldbridge is against AI. Genuinely is. It's not working at all now. It's froze completely. Yeah, page unresponsive. What a surprise. Hey, technology is amazing, isn't it? Right, you know what? I wasn't even on my computer. I was having breakfast this morning. My phone was in the room. I was talking about how I might get a new pair of slippers. Went on to my internet, looking at a particular website. Wasn't porn. It was about football. What flashes up on my screen? Slippers. Hadn't searched it. Nothing. Literally thought about it over my toast. Mentioned it verbally. Amazing. I mean, we all know that happens, but amazing. Will football be played by robots? 100%. They'll create a robot that's better than Messi. And then they'll just get 11 against 11. But the thing is, they won't have individualism. They'll all play the same, won't they? Right, I need to do this poll. This will work this time. So, what was it? Van Dijk, Trent and Salah. Which new contract is most vital to Liverpool? Van Dijk, Trent or Salah? Get your vote in. Considering age as well, Trent's in his mid-20s, Salah and Van Dijk are in their 30s, but you would argue, who is the most important? Normal football or American football, which is better, says Daniel. Come on. I mean, I do like the NFL. In January after Christmas is when I really watch it, but I just can't believe the Chiefs. They've won every single game. Somebody's got to beat them. They're so boring. They are the Man City of the NFL. I think NFL's gone boring like Formula One. Definitely football over American football. What came first, Mark? The chicken or the egg, says Reese. I genuinely don't care, but if people want to talk about that, let them know. Right, Inter on the attack. Inter Dumfries. Can he whip the cross in? It's not good enough, and it's cleared away. But they're still in. Cross the back post. Won't win that. He did win it, but he heads it over the bar. Goal kick. England versus South Africa rugby on the 16th. Are you going to do a watch-along, says Aaron. I do like the rugby, but England are crap. I mean, they nearly beat New Zealand and they lost. I used to really get into the rugby, but I actually do quite like rugby. I just haven't watched it in a long time. I like Formula One. I haven't watched it in a long time. Dalen says, I don't think Chiefs are the best team the Lions are, to be honest. I hope they are, mate. I really do. But I just think the Chiefs will win the Super Bowl. They've got that know-how, haven't they? Right, Saka down the right-hand side. Switch it. He needs to switch it. Trossard wasn't the ball. One random guy says, Formula One is super interesting at the moment. Anyone can win. But it's not really, is it, mate? Because Verstappen's already won enough races anyway. So it gets interesting at the end. But will it be sustainable next year? You need it to start like that, not end like that. Samuel says, what's your favourite clothes brand? Trying to think. I have quite a range of stuff. I've got a few Ralph Lauren shirts. Obviously, I've got a few Hugo Boss jumpers. I quite like Reese clothes, actually. Just, unbranded. They're quite good. There was a Dutch thing I was doing. Got some nice trousers and a jumper from them. I can't remember what they're called. Quite expensive, but they are quite nice. I forget what they're called. Bloody hell. Sommer got in trouble there. He punches it away from a cross. Arsenal still got it. Saka with the touch in the box. Arsenal growing into the game. Ben White with the cross. Another corner. They're dangerous from corners. What about Boohoo Man, Mark? Well, I love my Boohoo Man jumper. I like my Boohoo Man stuff to chill out in. Chill out wear. Like in front of the fire or on an 8 o'clock stream. What do you think about Fulham's win over Brentford, says FFC? Brilliant. I mean, I literally, towards the end, when they were losing 1-0 to Brentford, I put up the stats and I was like, how are Fulham losing this game? And then they won it. I mean, they absolutely dominated them. Another good corner by Arsenal, but Inter are very good at defending set pieces. That's one thing you expect from the Italian teams. But the quality of the balls that are come in are very good here. DM your deets, I'll send you a Gucci jumper, says Parker. What, a real one? Approaching half time here. There are other games going on tonight. Let's have a quick look what happens with this corner first. Give me some controversial opinions to talk about, either ors, or don't have to be football related or agony stuff or, Oh, last night somebody asked me a question. Who would win in a fight between a polar bear and a crocodile? I didn't answer it. So this morning on the way to school, I asked Seb what he thought, and he seemed to think a crocodile would win, but it depends on the environment. I said I think a grizzly bear would win. Not a polar bear. A grizzly bear against a crocodile. If it was in the water, I think a crocodile would win. Potentially, because it could drown it. But if it was on land, I think a bear would win. Because, you know, people are going to laugh, but I genuinely think if it was me against a crocodile on land, I would win. And people will say, well, they are big and they are quick, but I ain't running. If a crocodile ran at me, I can jump higher than a crocodile, right? So my plan would be, stood on a beach, big crocodile comes out the sea, and I just stand there. I'm like, let's have it. It thinks, easy. Because if you run, they're really quick. He meant to zigzag. Oh, I ain't running, right? So the crocodile comes at me. It's a big one. And as it comes towards me, snapping, I jump in the air straight like that. And it will try and do something, but I'll just land on its head, close its mouth, and then kick its fucking head in. Like that. Which Premier League has the most dominant years, says Nick James. Which Premier League team will have the next dominant years? Well, I'd still say Man City. Still say them. Christian says, I made an AI Goldbridge with transcripts. It was amazing. It won't be long, mate. Penalty! Oh, my God. He's given a penalty. These penalties are getting more and more dodgy in the Champions League. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. Free kick comes in. No. That's not a penalty. In the Premier League, that is just not a penalty. This is the same as last night for Sporting. They're just not penalties. They're not penalties in the Premier League. So we sort of look at it and go, that's ball to hand from a very short space. I don't think that's a penalty. But then again, in Italy, that is a penalty because basically any touching of the hand. But the problem with that is that even if that is a penalty for Inter, Arsenal should have had a penalty at the other end. It's dodgy. It's absolutely dodgy. That was a penalty at the other end. Arsenal player heads it, keeper misses the ball and hits the player. That's a penalty. So Arsenal have been done here. Penalty to Inter. Calhanoglu, very good set-piece specialist. Well, it'll open it up in the second half if he scores, that's for sure, because we're about to go to half-time. VAR penalty check. They're not going to overrule it, are they? No. Check over, giving it. Calhanoglu. Scores straight down the middle. 1-0 to Inter. I've got to say, I feel bad for Arsenal here. I think it's a fucking joke. I don't mind if it's a penalty for Inter. It opens the game up. But they definitely should have had a penalty at the other end. And it just feels a bit unfair to me that Inter get a penalty from an Arsenal player who's got his hand in a natural position. Like, you know, people say it's unnatural. It's not. It's not. It's natural in relation to what he's actually trying to do. And it hits his hand. It's ball to hand, isn't it? It's just... the handball rule is just a joke, as we saw last night for Sporting. But, benefit of the doubt, penalty to Inter, fine. Why didn't Arsenal get a penalty at the other end then? If we're going to give penalties because the ball's just hit his hand, why aren't we giving a penalty for a keeper smacking somebody after the ball's gone? It's not right. It's not right. Kenneth says, I just hope you never meet a crocodile. Mate, look, if you get over the fear of the fact that it's going to kill you, never run. My advice, don't listen to the nature experts, right? If you see a crocodile, don't run because they're quick. Stand there, stare it out, and if it... I probably think if I stood and stared at a crocodile, it shit itself anyway. I get the feeling it's used to people running away. And if I stared at it like that, it would go, I ain't messing around with him. I'm heading down the beach to that knobhead. But if it did fancy its chances, and I reckon I could jump over it, and I'll just keep... Even if I couldn't finish it off, I reckon I could just keep jumping side to side and it'll get tired and go away. Definitely think I can jump over it. Half time, 1-0. Joke of a decision there. But it's 1-0. You can't do anything about it, Arsenal. You're 1-0 down here. I don't agree with it. I wonder at half-time if they'll show the penalty that Arsenal should have got. They've conceded a penalty. It is harsh. But at the end of the day, there's not a lot you can do about it. The penalty has been given. But my major problem with it is that as soft as it is to give that penalty against Arsenal, I'm like, why didn't Arsenal get a penalty at the other end? You think about the World Cup. You can't say it's Premier League specific. You think about the World Cup. Chesney on Messi. Messi wins the header. Chesney tries to get it. Messi wins the header. Chesney follows through. Catches the player. Penalty given. Last season, Onana, Burnley. There were other ones. Here we are in the Champions League. Arsenal player heads it before Sommer gets there. Sommer hits the player. No penalty. And you've got VAR as well. I just don't get why Arsenal haven't had a penalty. The handball to me is the same as the Sporting one last night. I don't think that's a handball, and I think in the Premier League it doesn't get given. I understand that we're in the Champions League and some of them do. But, yeah. Very, very disappointing. Arsenal should have had a penalty. But in the context of the game, it will open it up because I think Arsenal have been a bit defensive and it just opens up the game a little bit, doesn't it? So we will see how that opens up in the second half. I'm getting a bit mad with the chat because there's a lot of people here basically saying I wouldn't be able to jump over a crocodile and survive. So you're basically telling me that if a crocodile approaches a human being, we're all dead. No, there's always a way. There's always a way. Unless it's a polar bear, you're dead. You ain't got a chance with a polar bear. You can't jump over it. It's stronger than you. It's quicker than you. You're done. Unless you've got a samurai sword or a gun, you're done. But a crocodile, I think you can jump it. They can't climb trees either. So just climb a tree. I'm not running from a crocodile. I'm not giving them the satisfaction. I'm not. And I would climb a tree because technically it's not running. It's vertical. It could bite the tree down. Yeah, well, if it does, I hope it gets a big splinter. Mark, your next YouTube channel should be wildlife related. Could be funny. I would love it, John. I'd love to do a wildlife show. I'd bring some real glamour and banter to it. Prem looks like a Farmers League right now, says Zlaya. Why? Liverpool are top of the Champions League. How can it be a Farmers League? All right, Villa have lost. They're still in the top 6. Man City and Arsenal are mid-table, but, you know. Do you think Ten Hag watches Man United matches? I backed him till the end. I was sad that he had to leave, but now I'm excited about our new manager, says Jaron. If I was him, I wouldn't watch Man United games. I'd let it go. I think if Ten Hag was watching Man United games, it would be like being dumped by your girlfriend and then, you know, knowing that she's going to be in a certain pub on Friday night with a new boyfriend and going down there and watching. Yeah, you've got to move on. Nick says, hello, Mark. From your experience, is diving and rolling around like you've been shot taught at young levels of football? How has this caught on? TV, mate. It's from TV. Yeah, you don't learn that from a coach. No one ever tells you to do it. It's seeing your players. It's seeing players do it on the TV. That's where it comes from. Jordan says, fight. Jamie Redknapp versus 2 badgers and a swan. Unfortunately, I think Redknapp would win. But I tell you what, if it was going the other way, I'd watch it. Who wins? A 1 gorilla against 2 tigers? Mate, tiger. I think a tiger could beat a gorilla anyway. Why are you giving it 2? Tiger against the gorilla? I'm going with the tiger. Definitely. Interesting poll. Which new contract is most vital to Liverpool? Van Dijk, Trent, Salah. This is a threesome. We normally do either or. Threesome, and it's a bloody good one. Trent's in third place with 27%. Van Dijk's in second place with 35%. And Salah wins with 38%. But I tell you what, that is close. Split the vote 3 ways there. But Salah is the most important. I was asked that question. I turned it into a poll. Which new contract is most vital to Liverpool? Van Dijk, Trent or Salah? Look, in some ways it's Trent because he's the younger one and he's going to be around in 5 years. Whereas those other two are probably going to give you 1 or 2 years. So, and Trent is world class, in my opinion, at right back. So you could argue it's Trent when it comes to economy. But in relation to who's the best player, it's got to be Salah because it's the goals. He's world class and so I agree with the Salah vote there. But it's a very good question and I think you could get all sorts. Arsenal fans, John Pryor, thank you for being a member, by the way. Get your badge in. Thank you, John. He's been a member for 17 months. Thanks for supporting the channel. Just half-time here, and there are half-times around the Champions League. Villa lost to Club Brugge in the earlier kickoff. Shakhtar the next beat Young Boys 2-1 as well. It's half-time. Salzburg are beating Feyenoord in Feyenoord. I think this is a great result for Salzburg at the moment. Really exciting team. Always developing talent. Well, they're 1-0 up against Feyenoord at the moment. Inter Milan 1-0 up against Arsenal, as we know. PSG are drawing in Paris against Atletico Madrid. Red Star are losing 1-2 to Barcelona in Belgrade. Brest are doing well again. They're 1-0 up against Sparta Prague. And Stuttgart 0-0 Atalanta, and Bayern Munich are 0-0 with Benfica. Just coming back to the Arsenal game, by the way, absolutely not right. I don't think we've seen it on the TV because they're showing the handball at the moment. But Arsenal should have a penalty to me. Inter have had a penalty. It's a bit soft, to be honest with you. I mean, just it's hitting his hand in such an unorthodox way. I just don't feel it's a penalty. But if Inter are getting that, my big question is why didn't Arsenal get one at the other end? Let's say it's soft for Inter, but it is a penalty. Why didn't Arsenal get one at the other end? And you can't answer that. I'm not having the handball argument. For me, I don't think it is a handball, but I'll give them that. They're going to show it now. Yeah, that's a penalty. There it is. Stone wall. Look at it. Cross comes in. Oh, that's a Stonewall penalty. He's double punched him in the bloody head. Moreno gets there first and he punches him. Unless Sommer gets a touch on that ball, which he clearly doesn't, that is a penalty. That's more of a penalty than the handball. Shocking. People are saying it's not a penalty because he's got the right to go for it. He has got the right to go for it, but that's the same as saying a defender's got to go for the ball, but he doesn't get there. It's exactly the same thing. There's nothing wrong with Sommer going for it, but if he doesn't get it and he hits the player, it's a foul. Simple as that. Mark, want your advice on how to propose to my girlfriend? I'm moving in with her soon and nervous about asking for her parents' blessing. It says Impact Azza. Right, I like this sort of stuff. Good. You're right. You've asked the right person, right? 2 things. First of all, ask the parents. It makes you come across as polite, respectful, and they'll really appreciate it. And so will she when you tell her, which is always a good thing. Second of all, think about something that is important to you. Where did you meet? What do you like? Like, I proposed because I met my current wife in Ireland. So we're both English and we were working in Ireland. So I proposed at the airport because that's where you come into Ireland. Sounds really shit now, but actually it was quite romantic and it was busy and everything like that. So, and it was at Christmas and, you know, a lot of people were looking and I'm a big head and I like people to watch. No, I didn't. I felt really bad. I felt really nervous, but do something that's going to be memorable, even though it might embarrass you at the time. Don't just do it on a Saturday night when you're watching Strictly and you go, oh, what's that on the table? A ring. You know, do something good. Yeah, I'm not doing that, Harvey. Harvey says, can everybody say crack my finger backwards? Do it. You know what he's on about. Faceman says, Mark makes a good point. Yes, we'll leave it at that. If you jump and get behind it away from the mouth, I'm just curious how you're going to kill it. I want to know your next step. Yeah, well, Faceman, I'm telling you now, if you run away from a crocodile, it will catch you because they're quick. People say zigzag, it's never going to work. If you get into the flight zone, fight or flight, if you're running away, you're never going to remember to zigzag, so it's going to get you. And your last thought as it swallows you will be, I'm a coward who was too slow. Whereas, if a crocodile attacks you and you jump over it, they're not very good at jumping. So you'll jump over it and it will go, oh, I've got to turn round now. And they're not very good at turning round. So you run away again, get some distance, it will turn around and come for you, then you jump. You're doing less running than that. Eventually, it'll go, oh, I'm not doing this. I've seen a pheasant down the road. There we go. Crocodiles are not slow. Interesting thing, crocodiles cannot jump unless they're in water. They use their tails to propel themselves out of the water, but they can't jump out of water. So I'm correct and you are wrong. Gorilla versus tiger. Just catching up on some nature stuff. I'd say tiger. And the internet says there is nothing the gorilla can bring to this fight. It's big, but the tiger is bigger. It's strong, but the tiger is stronger. And it's got claws as well. Yeah. And somebody said, who'd win between a gorilla and two tigers? Bloodbath. Bloodbath. AMG said, should the elderly choose to when they die? This is a football channel, by the way, but I think I'd judge it on a case-by-case basis. How long before Arsenal fans turn on Arteta if he keeps missing out on the Champions League and the Premier League, says Dante. I can't believe people say gorilla would beat a tiger. It wouldn't even be close. It wouldn't even be close. A gorilla would not beat a tiger. No way. Absolutely not. On Arteta, I sense Arsenal fans are already turning because it's like you get used to the success. Arsenal finishing second is incredible 2 years in a row. But some Arsenal fans are like going, he's not good enough to win us the league. But you're not good enough to win the league. You're not good enough to win the league. If you're looking at that Arsenal side and going, if we didn't have Arteta, we'd be winning the league. You bloody wouldn't. So, yeah, I sense that some Arsenal fans might start to get impatient with him. But the grass ain't going to be greener. I mean, look at West Ham. They've got every right to want better football than Moyes. But look how that's working out. The grass won't be greener. I don't look at that Arsenal side and say there's a manager out there that will win the league with it. I really don't. I think it needs. I think you could get another manager in and give him 5 players on top of the squad, and he might win the league. But you could give Arteta 5 players and he'll win the league. Shark versus a killer whale, Freddie. Easy. Killer whales kill sharks all the time. Chris says you're not Sonic the Bloody Hedgehog, Mark. Yeah, but I can jump. I can jump. Who would win, King Kong or Jaws, says VXD. Well, none of them are real. And thank you very much. Penguin versus a duck versus goose versus swan. Foursome, says Josh. Mate, this is getting silly now. I've got no idea. Anyway, we're about to start for the second half. Can Arsenal get back into it? It should be an interesting second half. I felt like I wanted Inter to score first anyway because I think Arsenal were playing a bit defensive, but it's going to be difficult. I said a score draw tonight, but they're going to have to do well. Arteta's doing his best Ollie impression, says John. Vihan says, AI says Tiger wins without a doubt. Mark says Tiger wins without a doubt. Should men wear rings to show they're engaged, says Perry. No. I mean, I said that a bit firmly, but no, I don't think they need to. But I've probably just opened up a can of the worms. I should have thought this through. The reason I'd say no is because traditionally they don't. And then there'll be an answer going, yeah, that's because traditionally it's sexist. It's about putting a label on a woman saying that they're taken, but the man doesn't have to do it. You raise a good point, but I disagree. End of. If Roger Moore could do it in Live and Let Die, so could Mark, says Russell Brown. Thank you. And he was probably about 60. Roger Moore was a very old James Bond. Have you heard about a man called Baltazar from Equatorial Guinea? Please search the name and you'll be amazed. I'm not stupid, Ali. No one's going to do that. Don't just go searching random things on the internet. Jesus is coming on. Arsenal have got to go for this now. Let's get ready to start the second half. Please do subscribe to the channel, by the way. You're all welcome on That's Football. We've got some cracking Premier League watch-alongs coming up this weekend, by the way. The times are a little bit weird, but very exciting. 5:30 on Saturday, Brighton entertain Manchester City. Straight after that, at 8 o'clock, we've got Aston Villa at Liverpool. So it's a double watch-along on Saturday night. So get involved, subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Looking forward to it. Big games. I'm on the United stand tomorrow as well, if you fancy it. Europa League, Man United play against PAOK. I think that's how you pronounce it, PAOK, who won the Greek league last year and are second at the moment. He's got to get that wide, Havertz. He does get it wide. Martinelli, side netting. I tell you what. Am I going to... Well, I am going to say it because I'm not an Arsenal fan. Martinelli doesn't do it for me. He doesn't do it consistently enough. I mean, people talk about Garnacho at Man United, but he does deliver more than Martinelli, I think. He just doesn't deliver enough for me. Top 5 UK lagers, Mark, says Elliot. Mate, I don't know. I'm not really a beer snob, really. I mean, I'll have a pint of Carling sometimes, and then I'll have a pint of Peroni. I'm not really that bothered. Martinelli is mid, says Liam. Ben says, come January, where do you think Forest will be in the table? Mid-table. Yeah, I think they've had a very good start to the season, but they've got an incredibly interesting run of fixtures, haven't they? They've got Newcastle on Saturday, then they've got Arsenal, then they've got Ipswich, where they'll probably win, then they've got City, Man United, Villa, and they've got Brentford away, and then they've got Tottenham at home. So I can see them plummeting down to mid-table. If they don't, well done. Nick says, do you think Rashford... Well, he says controversial. Rashford would be good for Arsenal. Well, who's better? Rashford or Martinelli? Because I actually agree with you. I think Rashford... I agree with you. I think Rashford in an Arsenal side might be quite useful. The only problem you would have with Rashford is can you make him track back? Because Martinelli does track back. Is that a tactical thing at Man United, though? Hi, Mark. Please come to India. I've been following United Stand since 2017. What a great community it is, says Ayush. Thank you very much, mate. You're a legend. Wherever you watch... I mean, sometimes I forget that. We are a worldwide community, aren't we? So wherever you're watching from, thank you very much. Jesus just had a chance there. Doing the Arteta. Bissok's gone down well here. Down injured. Arteta says Rub. I think Rashford... Look, Rashford might turn it around at United. So I think sometimes people are a bit over the top. He doesn't play off the left that often. Oh my God, I've just seen a recommended video on the United stand. Mark Rage. United stand 6, Football Daily 0. Oh, is that? Oh, that's what. Oh, I'm not watching that. It makes me feel bad. 6 years ago. We were quite a good team, you know. Had some good players. How do Arsenal get back into this then? Could you beat a dog-sized praying mantis in a fight? No, mate, they're bloody... Well, no, a dog I could. If it was human-sized, you've got no chance. They're vicious. Really vicious. They've got, like... They'll eat you with your teeth, and they've got really strong arms. Mount as Cam besides Bruno, thoughts? Well, that's the idea if he can stay fit. I mean, I don't know whether we've got any Chelsea fans listening, but you must be over the moon about what we paid you for Mason Mount. With 12 months left on his contract, we gave you 55 million. I mean, look, Ineos can't take the blame for that, but God, that's a shit deal, and he's not even been fit since. Dan, I did like Austin Powers when it came out. I loved it, but it's one of them things that really watch again. Like I've never seen it. I've never seen it on the telly before. Dumfries, and that's back with the keeper. Matthew says, "What's your main goals for next year?" I want to break America, and I'm just saying that because that's what people say. I don't know. I mean, when I think about this year, I played a load of football this year, which I was really happy with because I'm not going to be able to do that, and it might be my last year. So to play at Anfield, to get on in the Beta charity game, that was an ambition. Played at Villa as well, so that was good. The book, get the book for Christmas, by the way. What a great Christmas present that would make if you haven't got the book. Get the book. That was an achievement as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I always like to have stuff to go for, but. I don't know. I'll have to have a think. I like to think about that over Christmas and New Year, what the goals are for the year. It's a nice time. If you scan that QR code with your camera phone, you get the link to buy the book. And I believe it's available now to order in America because it wasn't going to be available till November. So if you're living in America, I think you can get it now. But you can get the audio book as well, etc. Thanks everyone who supported that. He's not going to catch him there. See, that's Martinelli tracking back. You can see it in the left-back position. Yeah, Mason Mount behind the striker with a double centre attacking midfield like Sporting is pragmatically a good idea, but I just don't believe Mason Mount's going to stay fit. 25 years of age, he's had about 5 different injuries at Man United in just over a year. I think if you're picking up injuries like that, there's something underlyingly wrong, or you're massively unlucky, and I think there's something wrong. Mark, thinking back to your office days, what are your thoughts on the work from home culture? Do you think people are too lazy nowadays? I would have loved working from home, so I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I would have loved working from home because unless I'm working for myself, I quite like shortcuts. So the opportunity to have Netflix on at home while I'm doing some work would be great. So I'd love all that. But I think the thing you're missing out on is when I go down London or I go into Birmingham on a Thursday afternoon, I just love around 4 or 5 o'clock when people are... Oh, sorry, I've just got to plug my other internet in. It's gone out a bit. Where are you? Let's be having you. Actually, where are you? Oh, it's there. Plug it in, plug it in. Come up the stairs. the wrong step there. I think the big problem is I know people who work from home a lot, and you miss out on that social life. I think that's the sad thing. And I think about when I lived in Dublin. It was brilliant going for a drink after work and all that lot. You hate it. You hate getting up and having to go into work. But you know what? I think mentally it can make you feel quite lonely working from home all the time. 4-1 to Barca. Martinelli can't dribble. Doesn't have vision. His timing is bad. If he's through, there is no guarantee he'll score. He shouldn't be playing for Arsenal, says Tinku. Mate, I genuinely agree with you. I think that Rashford at Arsenal over Martinelli would be an upgrade, and people will laugh, but I just don't get the Martinelli thing. I think there's an upgrade there. Now, I'm not saying it should be Rashford, but I just think he's ridiculously inconsistent. And I think that, Havertz gets questioned. Sometimes even Saka gets questioned. But Martinelli, for me, is... it's just very rarely lights up a game, And he's certainly, when Man United play Arsenal, he'll probably score a hat-trick against us now, but he's not a player I'm worried about either. Keep up the good work, Mark. Favourite Chelsea player, says Daisy. I think at the moment Cole Palmer, isn't it? I think everybody's a big fan of Cole Palmer. I mean, I know he was very quiet against United, but I loved the simplicity of that. Where he went past Rashford and Casemiro with a little touch. Just a pass. It was great. Here's Saka into the box. Arsenal got to get back into it. Oh, what a cross with his right foot. I mean, the defender for Inter did a great job then, because I thought that was going to just end up on an Arsenal head. Brilliant bit of defending, but a lovely cross. Here's Trossard into Saka. He can't get it down, and Sommer gets hold of it. Hughes Lad said, would you sacrifice the transfer budget for one summer to pay off Rashford and Bruno? No, because you wouldn't have Bruno and Rashford, and then you'd have no budget either. So you'd be worse off. You can't, yeah, it's a good question, but you can't do it, can you? If you was an actor out of your favourite films, which one would you like to be in and have a 10 out of 10 performance? Oh, get in the chat. So I can take the place of any actor and be in that film as their role. Oh. Mate, imagine me as Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Imagine me. People would be booing. Who's this little ferret? They'd have to bulk me up. But I would love to be in. I'd like to be the sheriff in Jaws. I'd love that. It's a good role. But I think realistically, Heat is my favourite film. So Pacino role in that. Because there's a bit of comedy in it and it's a serious film. So I think Pacino in Heat. Or DiCaprio in Departed. Yeah. Or Batman, Bale. I'd have to be like this. I could be Bane. Oh, Harry Bane. Oh, I'm Bane. Have Arsenal run out of steam, Mark? I agree that they may miss a few players to be challenging for the Champions League, but thought Moreno would make a bigger difference as Petco. I feel with Arsenal at the moment, there is almost a similarity with Manchester City, whereby they're just a bit deflated. They're just a little bit flat. I'm watching them here and I'm like, it's almost, is boredom the right word? They're just a little bit boring. But they're not boring. They're a good team. But it's almost like they're just... Yeah. It's the same as Man City. It might be... And I think Villa are struggling with it as well. There's just something about Villa, Arsenal and City at the moment that's just a little bit tired. And it's coming across in their football. Like, if they turned up here tonight and played really well and won 3-0, it wouldn't be... It's not that Arsenal are fundamentally boring or uninteresting. Oh, what a save by Sommer. What a camera angle. Havertz has just curled it towards the top corner and it's going in. And Sommer makes a great save. But yeah, I think Arsenal can be an entertaining team. But I just think they've just gone a little bit flat. And I think without Odegaard, they've become quite reliant on the defensive side of their game and scoring 1 or 2 goals. Another corner, though. This is where they're dangerous. They've become a bit of a hybrid Stoke, haven't they? Reliant on set pieces and good defensively. But again, Inter have dealt with every one of these corners, and they've been very good corners from Arsenal. Mark is devastated. What about? Sommer's a great keeper, says Nathan. I remember him being linked to United. He's a steady goalkeeper, isn't he? Trossard goes wide. Martinelli. He's got Timber. Edge of the box. Partey. Jesus. Too many touches. Someone's just got to hit that first time. You can't take a touch in the box. You've got to hit it. Howder says, Goldbridge as a Clint Eastwood in his last film from 2021 as a 91-year-old actress. Was that what he did? Joshua Gray says, thoughts on Lewandowski? I think he's a decent player. Petco, anyway, it was a good comment about Arsenal. Appreciate that. GDS. I mean, it's interesting, but it clearly wasn't over the line because they would have told us. Would you take Gyökeres or Haaland at Man United, says Awab? Haaland, I think he said Højlund. I'd take Haaland over Gyökeres. Of course I would. He's the best striker in the world. Mark, thank you. Zielinski, Fratesi and Martinez coming off for Taram, Barella and Mkhitaryan. I don't know. I don't know. Talk to me if you know loads about Inter Milan. Why are DeMarco, Barella on the bench for Inter? Is that just depth of squad or injury or what? TBC says, do we get a Crocs in crisis video? And David says, opinion on tattoos on men and women. Well, look, each to their own. It's not for me. But I've got plenty of friends who have got them. But it's never been for me. Have you ever been to Richmond in London? Says Sam. No. I mean, I don't think so. Just having a look where it is. No. Looks nice. Oh, I'm surprised I've not been there actually, because that's sort of my side of London. East. There's not really any football clubs on the east of London, is there? They're all the other. Name me a decent football team in East London. No, West London. Sorry, they're all on the east side of London. Charlton, West Ham, Millwall. But extreme west, I can't think of anybody like Acton, Chiswick, Richmond, Hammersmith, Harlesden, Notting Hill, Wembley. There's not really that many out that way, is there? This is where people tell me there's bloody loads. West London. Yeah, but Chelsea and Fulham are very central London as well, aren't they? I'm talking like, you know, west, northwest. There's not many there, is there? I'm talking west as well. Southwest is more... Southwest central is Chelsea and Fulham, isn't it, really? Where is Brentford? I don't actually know. I've never been to Brentford. Where's QPR? Oh, I'm now doing a... Brentford is West London, yes. Brentford's probably the most West London team. Bloody hell, I actually go really near. No, I don't. I quite go near here, actually, when I go. QPR's south then, innit? Shepherd's Bush. We're in London, aren't we? Anyway, Saka down the right-hand side. We're in Milan at the moment. When are they getting rid of the San Siro? Oh, look, I've been to the San Siro. QPR, says Kenneth. I'm going to have a look. See, where I'm at, I live in the Midlands, which is... Oh, QPR is very west. Bloody hell, I can't believe how close I get to QPR when I drive. That's incredible. I drive past there on Westway every time I go into London, and it's really close. That is mad. I never knew. Well, there you go. QPR and Brentford. Let me come and do a watch along, because that's only an hour and a half. Brentford would be perfect. Out of all the teams in the bottom half of the table, which do you think will find success first, win a trophy and become a balanced team? Says Jamie. West Ham. West Ham have got great potential. Like, big stadium. They've spent money. What type of centre-back is Yoro likely to resemble? Well, watch my career mode, because he was fucking brilliant today. Tall, quick, good on the ball, good in the tackle. The potential is endless. Diaz says you should do a That's Life podcast with Mark Goldbridge, where you invite influential people on and talk about life and stuff. They wouldn't come on though, would they? People won't do content with me. It's been going on for bloody years. I've been blacklisted by knobheads who spread lies. Trust me, I'd do content with loads of people, but they won't do it. No, I'm not bothered about it, but you know. And people have done it, like they have. They've purposely done it to block me off. But it would be great content, I agree, but you just got to just stay in your lane, do your own thing. Don't let it bother you. Crystal Palace is southwest. Thank you, the Hills. So this second half's flown by. Neymar's first game after 1 year and he got injured, says Jide. I mean, I think Neymar's done, isn't he, really? How old is Neymar? Out for another 6 weeks. 32. The thing is, though, in fairness to Neymar, this will happen to Malacia. And I'm not comparing Malacia to Neymar, but when you're out for a year, you're always going to pick up a bit. There's always a very big chance that you'll pick up a secondary injury. It happens a lot. What 3 types of animal would you choose to have as pets if you could tame anything, says George. Well, I don't want to encourage that, because people actually do have pet lions and polar bears and stuff, and I just think it's cruel. But I've given you 2. And a shark would be good. I don't know where I'd keep it. Yeah. Somebody in the chat just said there that Basil just said Fulham and QPR have got great academies. I don't think Brentford have an academy, do they? I'm sure I remember something about that. Saka in the box, needs a layoff. Arsenal are taking too many touches in the box. It's the same as Newcastle at the weekend. They get the ball in the box, no problem, and then everybody takes an extra bloody touch. They're too slow in the box. But it's into Thuram. Oh, my God. Why is he not getting a shout there? And also, why do you think you're not going to get tackled there, Pratt? Mint Green says they're trying to pass it into the back of the net. Exactly. Social media would be intolerable for non-Arsenal fans the day Arsenal win the Champions League or the Premier League if they dominated for a while like City. What do you think, says Vincent? I don't really notice that side of Arsenal fans as much as maybe in the, AFTV Prime days, where it was like DT and everyone. I think Arsenal fans were very irritable then because that was the face of Arsenal, wasn't it? I don't think... Look, maybe Arsenal would be massively intolerable if they won things, but I don't really notice the bad side of the Arsenal fan base anymore in recent years. And I don't know why that is. I'm not saying they wouldn't be intolerable, but I don't notice it. Josh Smith, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, if you could pick any European stadium outside of UK to replace Old Trafford with, what would it be? Get some suggestions in. It's a good question from Josh. I mean, the Bernabeu looks pretty good, doesn't it? And I think the new camp, well, we can't say the new camp because it's not done yet. The Bernabeu looks very good. I've always liked Dortmund. The Allianz is a nice one as well. I'm trying to think. It's got to be something big, hasn't it? To replace Old... I mean, I wouldn't replace Old Trafford with anything. It's... I don't want to see it get knocked down. Here's Dumfries. Side netting on the volley. St Mirren, says Simon. Harry Willett says, have you ever heard of Walsall? Mate, it's only about half an hour away from where I live. And it's hard not to know about Walsall because it's one of the most accessible football grounds in the world. If you've ever been on the M6 through Birmingham, which is a motorway, you will see Walsall's football ground as you come out of Birmingham. It's right next to the M6 motorway. So everybody, at some point, if you drive on motorways in the UK, will see Walsall Stadium. You could keep the shark in a tank, but they have trouble operating the turret. Ba-dum-dum. Thank you, TPC Daz. I feel like the last couple of days, I feel like I'm getting a cold. I do not want a cold. I do not want a cold. Thanks for all your super chats tonight, by the way. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We've had a long-running poll because I forgot about it. Either or, Martinelli or Rashford. 55% go with Martinelli. 45% go with Rashford. I'd go Rashford over Martinelli. And it's not even red-tinted glasses. If I was the manager of a team that wasn't Man United or Arsenal and I got the choice in a draft between them, I would go with Rashford. Talking of which, a week on Saturday is the international break. I do it every Saturday of the November international break every year. It's an all-day charity stream where loads of stuff going on, but I will be doing my legendary drafts where I play EAFC online and we draft the team together, raising money for people with serious illness. We raised £50,000 in 12 hours last year. I mean, that was amazing. Look, I don't want to put limits on it, but if we haven't done 50,000 in the first hour, you can all fuck off. No, I'm joking. But no, we will be doing that and looking forward to it. And also, Seb has said, can he be part of it? Because he wants to do some Fall Guys and he also wants to beat me at wrestling live so he can record it and keep it to show his friends. So we're going to do a Royal Rumble at some point as well because we have got WWE. I've also got the new Call of Duty game as well. I mean, I don't know whether I'll upload that, but yeah, we'll do some stuff. Looking forward to it. Can Arteta win a big trophy with Arsenal, says Goldio. Well, he's already won the FA Cup. Is the FA Cup not a big trophy anymore? I still think the FA Cup is a trophy. If you're talking about a big trophy, I think you're talking about the Premier League or the Champions League. and Arsenal have never won the Champions League. So can he win the Premier League with Arsenal? At the moment, they're not better than Man City. So I don't necessarily think winning a big trophy is failure if he doesn't. I think the expectation is a little bit unrealistic. But Arsenal equalise! No, they don't. Oh, my God. Havertz, I don't know how. I don't know how he doesn't score here. Comes into him dead central. Well, it's Bissek. Just throws his body in the way and it deflects wide. Should be scoring that, Havertz. What a chance, says Gur. I did say score draw, but it ain't looking good, Brev. Another corner for Arsenal. They're very good at corners, but Inter have shown the Italian defensive structure because they don't look like conceding either. I think Arsenal would have scored at least one corner tonight against the Premier League side because they've put them in the right areas, but Inter have just defended so well from these corners. And it's another good cross. And again, they've defended it well. Plenty of bodies there. But this is Arsenal again. Just too slow in and around the box. You just got to whip it in there. Dash says, Mark, you're an Arsenal fan. I'm not an Arsenal fan. I do want English clubs to do well in the Champions League because I want 5th place this year to be coming to England. I think it was an embarrassment last year, to be honest. The latest in the Champions League is that Salzburg are 2-0 up. 2-0 up against Feyenoord. I think that's a fantastic result for them. Konate scoring twice. There's a new batch coming through from Salzburg. New batch of youngsters that will be hitting the European scene in the next 2 years. Maybe Man United should be looking there. PSG still 1-1 with Atletico Madrid. Zaire Emery and then Molina equalised for them in the first half. Barcelona 5-1 up against Red Star. Lewandowski's got 2. Rafinha, Martinez and Lopez. Brest 2-0 against Sparta Prague. Atalanta are now winning against Stuttgart. Lookman, they're having a very good season, Atalanta, you know. And Bayern are still 0-0 with Benfica, which some might say is a bit of a surprise. Just in relation to the Champions League table, can we give a big shout out? I nearly said stroke. Can we give a big shout out to Monaco, who are in 3rd still, Sporting are 2nd, and Brest are in 4th. They've won 3 and drawn 1, Brest, and they're in 4th place. I mean, I don't know anything about them as a team. I mean, Salzburg are in 30th place. That's their first win. Let's learn a little bit about Brest. So, let's have a look. Spelt it wrong. Wrong thing came up. I mean, they're 11th. They're 11th in the French league, but they're 4th in the Champions League. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I don't know. I'm just looking at their players and I recognise some of the names, but it's not the right ones. Like Hadara is not the one I think it is. E. Fernandez is not Enzo Fernandez. Koulibaly is not Koulibaly. Yeah, I just don't know anything about them. Well done. Boogie Board says, hi Mark, you don't like Player FC or Manager FC. How do you feel about Content Creator FC? I don't support United, but I watch all your United stand vids. There's nothing wrong with that. In the world of content creation, you know, I think sometimes you have to be Goldbridge FC because everyone else just seems to bloody hate me. I don't talk about them, so I don't know why, but thanks for your support. No, seriously, thanks for your support. Jack Wheeler says, Man City, Arsenal and Villa are all having poor runs at the moment. Possible mix-up for top 4. Yeah, I don't think it's sustainable, though. As I said today on my video, I don't think Man City will stay bad for long. I think Arsenal will get better as well. And I can't see this being the drop-off of Emery's Villa. I just think they're all going through a bit of a bad patch at the moment. I don't expect it to change for any of them this weekend, to be honest. I mean, Brighton, Man City might be a difficult game for them. Chelsea, Arsenal will be a difficult game for them. And Villa go to Liverpool. So I don't think it's going to get a better end for all of them this weekend. I mean, I think Man City might beat Brighton, but I don't think Arsenal beat Chelsea, and I don't think Villa beat Liverpool. So, yeah, could go on for a little bit longer yet. Mark Christian says, Mark, try and get interviews with legends like Rio instead of the young cults you've got. Mate, he won't do it. They won't do it. They're just, again, it's just weird. So it would be interesting, but they won't do it. I think it's fear, really. I think they're worried that I don't know why it's fear, but I think it's sort of like, I don't know. I suppose I don't know. Actually, in that case, it's not fear. I know exactly what it is. It's somebody he works with who's a yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Don't be humble, Mark. You've seen plenty of Brest, says William. Thank you very much. Arsenal playing like Goldbridge on Legendary. Mate, I'd score on Legendary. I will go on Legendary soon. I will. I was meant to do a poll on this. Can Arteta win a trophy? Right, I forgot to do it, Goldio. Sorry, mate. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. Will Arteta win a big trophy for Arsenal? That doesn't mean you can win the pre-season Audi Cup because it's big. It means the Premier League or the Champions League. Brest or Poussey, says Verbal. Sorry, it was always going to happen. If you know, you know. Who do I think will get top four this year? Following on from what Jack Wheeler said, I still think Man City will win the league. I've not changed my mind on that. I think Liverpool probably will be second. I'd say Arsenal third. And fourth place at the moment, I'd have said Chelsea, but I wasn't that impressed with it. I know you can have a bad day, but I thought they were really lackluster in chance creation against United. And I know you can have a bad day, but they didn't really create anything. So I think fourth place, even Spurs could get back into that. And I still think Villa are a threat as well. Look, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd say again tonight, you've had loads of the ball. But it's been almost like you're trying to walk the ball into the back of the net. Sometimes I hate to see a team in the box controlling it and then looking to do something, because you've given the defender at least half a second to compose themselves. It's speed. They haven't got the speed. They've had 60% possession here. Inter have had one shot on target and Arsenal have had 4, and they're losing 1-0. It's a very, very similar game to Newcastle all over again, isn't it? They've had the possession. They just don't. This is why Odegaard's so important, though, isn't it? You can see how important Rodri is to Man City. And I think in a few games this season, we've seen just how important Odegaard is. Man City do play Brest, I think, in the Champions League. So you might get your old Poussey to Brest liking trash. 83 minutes. If Chelsea get 4th, that'll be huge, says Rub. Remember 5th. 5th could still do it. I can't see any of the English clubs going out in the group stage. So, Duncan says, Alvaro Fernandez is playing as a wing-back for Benfica tonight. January return to United. Duncan, I genuinely... So this Alvaro Fernandez was a Man United player who we sold to Benfica. There is a release clause that he can come back for 16 million, but he only went in the summer. So I would have thought there'll be something in the contract that says that that can't be activated for at least 12 months, because it would seem ridiculous that Benfica would do that deal knowing that he can go back in 6 months. But I've not read anything that that's not the case, but it just seems odd that we could do that in 6 months. Ronald Dump says, I sometimes watch Arsenal before I go to bed because it's so boring. Here's a question for you. I deserve the medal tonight. I did the question about fair play time. I did the one about, it's ridiculous that girls of 15 are still playing against boys at football. I did another one, and I'm going to do another one now. When is it too early? When is it okay to put your Christmas decorations up or start watching Christmas films? Because people are doing it around my way. Not loads, but they are doing it. I was walking down Sainsbury's the other day, and there's a house where you can see the telly, and I definitely saw the Grinch. And I thought, I don't mind from about November, I think basically after the international break. So the 20th of November, fine. But the 6th of November, you're having a bloody laugh. But I do think that, I don't think you can leave it too late because you won't get it all in. You're looking handsome today, young lad, says Banana. I mean, you couldn't get more wrong things in one sentence, but well done. Arsenal playing like a hybrid Sean Dyche team, says Ashton. And do you think Arteta can handle... Okay, Verbal, thank you very much. Talking about that again. They're not going to equalise here. Go on. They're not going to equalise. I can tell you that for free. It's not going to happen, bruv. I mean, look, the similarities with the Newcastle game are not lost on me. Another shot. It's almost like they don't believe they're going to score anyway. Anyway, no one told me when the San Siro is getting knocked down. It's already been done. That's not the... Where's that being played? That's not the San Siro. Oh, I'm an idiot. That's not the San Siro, how I know it, with the turrets in the corner. Mark, you missed my super chat, says VXD. I didn't miss it. I'm just not reading it because it was rude. It was about pussy and I'm bored of it. Ben Thornton says, my girlfriend's mum desperately wants to watch Love Actually. It's a very good Christmas film, but it's too early. Bridget Jones is a good Christmas film as well. Die Hard is the best Christmas film, TPC. You're right. 2 minutes to go. Another loss for Arsenal. Or is it? Jesus, yeah, too much. Trying too much in and around the box. I'm going to have to check this myself. No one in the chat has answered me at all about the San Siro. I don't know why you won't. It is the San Siro, isn't it? I don't know why. I just, for some reason, I didn't think that was. Another one into the box. It's being upgraded. It's not being knocked down. No, it's not the San Siro today. Where are they playing today then? See, I was right. Do you think Madrid will miss out on the 8th? No, James. And it won't matter if they do, but I don't think they will. All right, we're into the 90th minute now. How long's going to get added on? VXDZ says, my question was an interesting one and it wasn't about pussy. Right, I'm going to... Pussy. VXDS. I'm going to find it. Well, when was it? Oh, here we go. VXDZ says, if... Wait a minute. VXDZ says, if you were stuck in a prison, what would you do to escape? Dynamite. What would you take to escape? Dynamite, a gun with only 15 bullets, or a pickaxe, and you can only have 2 weeks. I mean, you're not getting out of prison with any of them. Because even if you dynamite the wall, there's another wall. If you've got a pickaxe, there's another wall. And if you've got a gun, they'll just call backup. So 15 bullets won't be enough. So I'd just take nothing and just do the time, really. I've got a player there. Odegaard, I didn't even know he was on the bench. This is great news. He's back. Odegaard's back. Jeremy says it is the San Siro. So Odegaard comes on. I mean, the question has to be, why didn't they bring him on before? Somebody said this book QR code doesn't work. It does. It does. Yeah. Scan the QR code with your camera phone and then buy it from wherever you want. Odegaard comes on. There's about 3 minutes to go here. I mean, what's he going to do? Apparently, Atletico Madrid have got a late winner against PSG. Corriere. What does that do for the table? I don't think PSG are doing that well. They're in 25th place. Is Enrique getting sacked next? Tune in next week to find out. PSG. You know what? I'm right again. I said about PSG, I don't see what their future is other than winning the French league. I mean, they're going to win the French league. They're 6 points clear. Marseille are doing well, but they won't stop them. But the PSG project of winning the Champions League, that's dead. That's not happening anymore. No way. Mitchell Warren, thanks for your super chat. Here is Odegaard on the ball. I mean, this could be key to Arsenal's renaissance. Getting Odegaard back, even for the Chelsea game, would be massive. But he's only going to get a couple of minutes here. Ten Hag to PSG. Brian says, how do you think United would have done in this? We'd be bottom, mate. We can't even win in the Europa League. This would be our first win tomorrow night, so we wouldn't be doing well in this. Thanks everyone who's tuned in tonight, by the way. Really enjoyed the watch along. Not as much as last night, I'll be honest, but the Premier League is back at the weekend. We've got brilliant games for you. 3 on this channel, watch-alongs. We've got Brighton Man City at 5:30 on Saturday. Then it's Liverpool Villa at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. And then Sunday afternoon, we've got Chelsea Arsenal at 4:30. So really looking forward to that. Get involved, of course. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And if you want to get somebody who likes football and likes my content a present for Christmas, perfect. 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 There's not many. I was saying this to my dad. He was asking about presents for the kids. And I said, it's really nice when they can open something up on Christmas Day. But so many presents these days are not physical, are they? Because it's like music is downloaded, film is digital, even computer games are digital. So get the Goldbridge book, wrap it up. It's a present under the tree that looks appealing when it's wrapped up. You'll enjoy it if you like football. It's over for Arsenal. They weren't going to score half an hour ago, so they're not going to score in the last minute. They're all the possession and just no creativity. Shot over the bar from Menwanri. But look, the positive is I think Odegaard being back will make them more creative. I love your work, Man United all the way, bro, says Alex. Cheers, pal. Thanks for your super chat. Arsenal need a striker. Everybody knows it, but they will also miss Odegaard massively. What's everyone getting for presents off you this year? Wife, kids, parents, friends, mother-in-law, everybody is getting a copy of Goldbridge Get In for Christmas. It will be a physical present. It will be wrapped and it will be signed and they're all getting it. So, and we open our presents together. So I'm going to make them all open it at the same time. And I just think they'll just be so happy about it. So, yeah. Best Christmas ever. And it's signed. Read it. Read it. It's not over for Arsenal yet. They are still on the attack. Across the back post. He's given a goal kick. He really should be blowing the whistle because we've had 7 minutes here. Seeing that Amorim is on his way, do you think Ruud should play a formation like the new managers or stick to his own system for the game tomorrow? Mate, he can't. Ruud van Nistelrooy, if he starts playing 3-4-3, it's more beggy than being a beg. He can't do that. Oh, look at me, I'm trying your system out. No, he can't do that. He can't do that. Imagine if he did it and then didn't get the job. He'd look a right twat. Ruud's got to do what he wants to do because what if he doesn't get a job and then he's looking for a job elsewhere? He's got to do him, hasn't he? Gavin, you can get the book delivered to Ireland. You just order it from Amazon. That's where it is. How many minutes? I think this referee thinks he's playing forever. No, he's blown the whistle. It finishes. No, yeah, it does finish. It finishes there. It's 1-0 to Arsenal. It's not 1-0 to Arsenal. It's 1-0 to Inter. Imagine if someone just came in for the end and went, yes, they bloody won. No, you didn't. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Absolute legends tonight. Always enjoy the banter and the chat. Will Arteta win a big trophy for Arsenal? Yes, say 24%. No, say 76%. Take care, everyone. We'll be back with some content for you tomorrow. We've got big watch-alongs over the weekend. And tomorrow night, if you want to join me on United Stand, it's Manchester United against PAOK. That's the real quiz. Take care. Speak to you in a bit.